Welcome all of you. Today we are going to discuss topics of chapter 3. In the previous lecture, we had discussed impartiality and non-partisanship, neutrality. In this lecture, we will discuss topics like anonymity, which are very important for the civil service exam. So here comes the most important topic, that is committed bureaucracy versus neutrality. This I have explained through a diagram here. As you all know, this is politics and administration is working under certain political setup. So under such setup, there can be two aspects. One is committed bureaucracy and second is civil service activism. Committed bureaucracy versus civil service activism. This is a very important concept. You all should understand because the concept of committed bureaucracy emerged during the era of Srimati Indira Gandhi, during the time of emergency, where until that period, before 1975, during Nehru era, the administrators were independent. They were neutral. They were impartial to a maximum extent, to a major extent. But during the emergency period, during that Indira Gandhi era, we have witnessed committed bureaucracy. Indira Gandhi also wanted committed bureaucracy. What is that committed bureaucracy? She has defined committed bureaucracy that whatever be the political bosses are saying, you should do it faithfully. So what the political bosses will say, it will be of two types. Whatever the direction can be ethical or legal, the direction can be unethical or illegal. So, under the concept of committed bureaucracy, what she was saying that whatever be the order, either that order may be ethical or legal, maybe it may be unethical or illegal, but the bureaucrat or the administrator should faithfully implement it. That is why many atrocities have been committed during emergency. Those were called as a black days of Indian democracy. Whatever be the orders coming from the top, administration was executing it. Maybe those orders may be unethical, maybe they were illegal, but administration was implemented. Administration was implementing it because Indira Gandhi wanted committed bureaucracy. Her concept of committed bureaucracy was that whatever be people have given mandate to a certain political party and certain political party is running the government. So when it is running the government, whatever be the ideologies of the political party, whatever be the roadmap the political party wants, bureaucrats should deliver that, should implement those policies, those programs. So after that, certain people emerged. Certain administrators have objected to whatever the concept of committed bureaucracy that was conceptualized by Srimati Indira Gandhi. Those people have said that bureaucrats shall not implement all the orders of the political executive. They shall implement those orders which are legal, which are ethical, which are in consonance or in allegiance to the constitution. Those orders only shall be implemented. If any order is unethical or illegal, he should not implement it. He should not carry out those orders. So those people have been given a term that they are activists, civil service activist, civil servant activists. So if you are an active civil servant, you are saying that whatever my political boss has ordered, it is unethical, so I will not implement. No, sir, I cannot implement this. Even though you are my boss, I will not implement that order because it is unethical, it is illegal. Then definitely you are violating civil services conduct rules. See what civil services will conduct rules will say. You will obey to your superiors. But what is happening? I am not obeying. Why I am not obeying? Because the direction is unethical. The direction is illegal. So certain civil servants have not obeyed the orders of the political executive of the day. And they have been termed as activists. So activist can do two things. He can simply not obey the order within the system, or he can come out in the public and he will talk to the public or talk to the media that this is the illegality or wrong things are happening in the government or wrong things are happening in this department or in this organization. He is coming out in openly. See, this is the system or government. Outside there is media, civil society, public. So you can raise your complaint or you can raise your grievance within the system or you can come out. If you are coming out, you are violating the anonymity, one of the foundational value of civil service. That's what we are saying. Civil servants should be always behind the curtain, while political executive shall take all the credit as well as criticism. Because he is facing the public, political executive is facing the public. So what is the question of anonymity? That the same thing bureaucrats are supposed to work behind the curtain and avoid immediate timeline. He will not get credit for the success and he will not be blamed for the failure. It will be the responsibility of the political executive because they are facing the elections, they are facing the public. Every 4 years or 5 years, they are going to the public and they are taking their mandate and they are forming the governments. So, civil servant should always work behind the curtains. If he has any grievance, he should be taking up the issue within the system. He should not go out. He should not go to the media. He should not go to the public. He should not go to any civil society or NGO organizations. For example, you are heading a certain government department. In that department, certain frauds have been occurring. And your political boss, he knows that. Or maybe your senior bosses, they may know that some certain things are happening, but they are silent. But you cannot remain silent. You want to expose that fraud. How you will do? That is the question. How you will do? You can take up that issue with your higher bosses within the system, or you can come out in the public, or you can leak that information to media, or you can come out in the public, or you can directly face the media and you can also disclose those fraud. So what option you will go? What option you will go for? That is the question. If you are going out, you are violating certain conduct rules. Because what are the conduct rules for anonymity? He shall not make any public utterance that would embarrass relation between union versus states or criticizing any policy of the union or state government, needs government permission before publishing any book, writing in newspaper or appearing in TV. He shall not divulge information he got during the official capacity to third party except under good faith or when required by law or departmental rules. So these are the conduct rules of anonymity. These rules clearly are saying that you should not divulge any information to any third party. You should not make any public utterance. You should not write any article in newspaper or you should not appear on TV, etc. and so on. But if you are coming out, you are exposing certain frauds that are happening in the government departments. While working in the department, you will be definitely violating the conduct. But there are certain arguments against anonymity. Like I have told you that often the entire state bureaucracy is corrupt and inefficient. Yes, you are working in a certain department, and in that department, with the support of higher officials, certain things are happening, certain corrupt practices are going on, and you know that your higher bosses are aware of these corrupt activities and they are encouraging those corrupt activities. In such a scenario, what you will do? You might send an application to higher bosses or you may file court petitions, but because of such a things, you might be victimized. You might be harassed by your higher bosses. Then you will not get any justice. If you are an honest officer, you will get injustice only with that approach. So definitely you can come out and you can approach the media. You can come out and you can expose the fraud in a larger public interest. That's what these activists are saying. This is the argument against anonymity. Second argument is that ministers criticize bureaucrats, but bureaucrats cannot defend. Many times, even recently, as you might have seen that Honorable Road Minister Gadkari, he has criticized his secretaries and many officials in the Road Transport Ministry on various occasions in the open forums, in a media platform, on media platforms. He has openly criticized. And as you are aware, in the field visits also, many MLAs, many ministers, they criticize whosoever the bureaucrats, whether they might be doctors or whether they might be any health workers or they might be sanitation workers, anyone. They will openly criticize in front of all the public. Maybe that officer, maybe that doctor might be discharging his duties fully, but when the minister criticizes or when the minister says any certain wrong things, he cannot defend it, in the media. Minister can talk anything in media, but bureaucrat cannot come before the media and he can justify his action. But they have to face the people protesting against the state. They have to face the people. They have to face, like as politician also faces the people every day. Bureaucrat also faces the people every day. People will say so many negative things about me, but a politician also will come and say so many negative things about me. That officer is not doing these things. That officer is not doing this, that thing, or this thing. But I cannot approach anyone. I cannot say anything to anyone because my anonymity, my civil service conduct rules are restricting me. So what I can do? That's what we are. That's what they are asking. So the debate is that if they speak, the officer is speaking out of their conscience, then he is violating conduct rules. See, once politicians are criminalized and are seen as doing wrong, bureaucrats can no longer remain neutral or side with their political masters but to seek the support of the people. Politician is doing wrong. Your higher up officials are also doing wrong. They are encouraging certain wrong things in the government or maybe in your department. Then you cannot remain neutral or you cannot collude with them and take your percentage. That is not the thing. I am an honest officer. So what resort I have? I have only resort of exposing those frauds in front of the public for the larger interest. That's what these activists are saying. But somewhere it should be in the middle. That's what, see, most of the experienced bureaucrats after retirement, many retired cabinet secretaries, they have proposed a solution that civil servants can be neutral and at an activist within the system. They are not suggesting that you should come out of the system. You should come out of the system and you should expose all the wrong things to media or any civil society organization. That is not correct, they are saying. They are saying that you can remain neutral, you can remain honest. At the same time, you can be activist within the system because you have so many channels. You can talk to your superiors, you can write applications, you can approach the judiciary, you can approach various other channels like CVC, anti-corruption bureaus, lokayuktas, etc. and so on. There are so many internal channels, there are so many internal mechanisms. Through those channels, you can remain activist, you can remain honest, you can remain neutral. You should not go out. That's what they are saying. They must use internal channels to influence government decisions to the public interest rather than mount on public platform. But still, if you are being suffocated, the best thing is that you should resign and should work as a public crusader. Next is the case study. First time I am discussing case study. That is under part 2. Case study in 2019 UPSC asked about the politicization of the bureaucracy. You all know politicization of the bureaucracy. The same politicization of bureaucracy is explained in the whole case study. I will not read this part. You can read that part because we have multiple times I have explained the politicization of bureaucracy. What consists of the, because administration works under politics. So administrator should be impartial, he should be politically neutral, but what is happening is that this administrator is working in connivence with the politician, which is very dangerous. That is what we call as politicization of administration, politicization of bureaucracy. That's what in the initial decades after independence, the relation between permanent executive and political executive were characterized by mutual respect and cooperation without encroaching upon each other's domain. But what is now happening, however, in subsequent decades, the situation has changed. There are instances of political executive insisting upon to follow its agenda. Respect for appreciation of upright bureaucrats has declined. There is an increasing tendency among the political executive to get involved in routine administrative matters such as transfers and postings. Under this scenario, there is a definitive trend towards politicization of bureaucracy. The rising materialism and acquisition has also adversely impacted on the ethical values of both the permanent executive and political executive. So, what are the consequences of this politicization of bureaucracy? We have discussed enough about what constitutes, why politicization of bureaucracy is happening. That we are clear, but what are the consequences? What are the serious consequences it is bringing about? Discuss. That's what the question is about. So I have provided you the introduction where I am mentioning that in India the concept of politicization of bureaucracy has its origin in early 1970s. All these things I have explained in my previous lecture. Just refer my previous lectures when Srimati Indira Gandhi pitched for committed bureaucracy. According to her, people have voted for a particular party to run the government. So whatever be the decisions by that government, bureaucrats shall faithfully implement those decisions. This approach, along with criminalization of politics. This is also a trend started from 1970s. Criminalization of politics and politicization of criminals sowed the seeds for politicization of bureaucracy. So what are the consequences? So you all know, again I am drawing the same diagram: administration, polity and economy. We have discussed. In the recent socio-political context, now it is a materialistic society. If you talk about the society is now materialistic. So in this materialistic society, everybody wants money. That's what in the question also they have mentioned, that the rising materialism has adversely impacted upon the ethical values of both. What are the both? Both administration as well as politician. So now they are working together to earn more money. That is why under this, what is the first consequence? Strengthened nexus between corporate. Economy means corporate, politician and bureaucrat. So that is what we call as crony capitalism. Ministers need a lot of money to finance, so they prefer a convenient subordinate who can facilitate, who can talk with corporate, or who can or who can do tender allocation favorable to the minister or to the party which is favorable to the minister. They don't like an officer who gives free and frank advice. They are not liking such officers earlier, but before 1970, such officers were respected. They were given independence, but now there is no independence. If you are not helping me, if you are not heeding to my orders, then you will be shunted out. You will be transferred. So this is the wheel of corruption. I have given you this is a very wonderful diagram. Such type of diagrams you will incorporate in our answers. What is this? Politician, bureaucrat, entrepreneur, that is corporate, and citizen. See, entrepreneur is bribing the bureaucrat for contracts and licenses, and same entrepreneur is campaigning the finance, campaigning the political fund, and bureaucrat is doing what? Bureaucrat is also giving to the politician for transfers and posting. He is also giving bribes. So if you are giving bribes, entrepreneur is also funding the political campaign, and bureaucrat is also bribing. So definitely to earn that money, he will take bribes from the citizens. Same, this entrepreneur also charge very high prices for low quality of public goods. In this way, whole corruption, whole this crony capitalism, how it is bringing serious problems for the citizen. How citizen will be affected, you can see on your own through this diagram. How citizens' lives will be affected with this crony capitalism, with this politicization of bureaucracy. So the same observations have been quoted by First Administrative Reforms Commission. What First Administrative Reforms Commission observed? IAS has lost its enthusiasm and vigor. They are ready to do anything and everything. What is that anything or everything? Whatever be the order, whether it is legal or illegal, whether it is legal or illegal, I will obey. I will implement that order. Why? For the reward, for either reward or fear. So this is the consequence. The consequence have been clearly observed by First Administrative Reforms Commission. You should provide such points in your answer to validate your answer, to make your point strong. So politicization of bureaucracy, due to politicization of bureaucracy, the foundational values of civil service, that is, it is against foundational values of civil service, that is impartiality, neutrality, objectivity, etc. So what is happening? Favoritism shown in contracting, tendering, funds disbursements to NGOs, loans to corporates, etc. That is why we have huge NPS. Because these people are being favored by the politicians. So banks, they are influencing the banks, and banks are offering the loans to the corporates. After that, after some time, they are not in a position to repay those amounts to banks. So that loan portfolio will become an NPA, non-performing asset. 90% of funds envisaged for cow protection only transferred to one NGO related to then UPCM's relative. We will not mention any name of any politician. You can just write then UPCM. So, what is another? Favoritism, biasedness. That is another consequence of politicization of bureaucracy. Again, what is the angle? Now you have to bring angles to get more angles. What is that? Short-term perspective. Winning the elections is the top priority. So development is being affected. Subsidy, welfare allocations every year is rising. Earlier what happened was, if politician comes with an idea, bureaucrat would oppose, bureaucrat would give impartial, rational suggestion. They were giving impartial, no sir, we should not allocate more fund to welfare because our development will be affected, sir. Like that, bureaucrat used to guide the politician. Now, they both are same. If you are not supporting your politician, you will be shunted out. Your voice will not be heard by the politician. Whatever be the political priority or whatever is the politician saying, you have to just hear. You don't have any independence. So, that politician is working with a short-term perspective. As a bureaucrat, you should have long-term perspective and accordingly you should guide the minister. But you are not doing it. Why? Because you lost your independence. Because why? It is a politicization of bureaucracy. If you are not aligned with your minister, you will be removed. So, huge loss to environment and biodiversity. All these points we have already noted. Same points you have to repeat and repeat in your answers. If you have clear-cut understanding, if you have angles in your pocket, you can easily write answers. See, here administration, here politician, here citizen. Administration every day interacts with both. So with politicization of bureaucracy, he lost trust, loss of mutual trust between administration and politician and bureaucrat, and also public servant and citizen. Because citizen is thinking that this fellow, this police, he is aligned with the local BJP MLA. I will not get justice because this administrator is not acting with bias. He is biased. He is favoring that party MLA or that party MP or that party person. So there is lack of mutual trust. At the same time, whosoever the political party is coming to power, they are also doing mass transfers because they don't have any trust in the existing administration. They think that this administration was acting hand in gloves with the previous political regime. So they are doing mass transfers. Loss of mutual trust happened between both sides, between administration and politician, between administration and citizens. Weakening the institutions. We have one more dimension. You all know Spec Hill. socio-political level. So weakening the institutions, which is threat to democracy. So in the process, institutions have been weakened. For example, CBI. It is an independent institution, but what is the situation of CBI? Supreme Court has multiple times commented that it is acting like a parrot in the case. Why? Because the bosses or the higher administration in CBI, they are acting as per the tunes of the existing political establishment. There is no independence. They are not taking decisions independently. They are not doing investigations independently. Why? Because of politicization of bureaucracy. Because of politicization of bureaucracy, institutions' independence, institutions have weakened. So this is a threat to democracy. Next, what is happening? Rising inequalities in income, wealth, and status. Because you are favoring few corporates. Few corporates have more wealth. They are having huge wealth. At the same time, citizen will be affected. Citizen, you have seen this diagram. He is getting benefited. He is getting benefited. He is getting benefited. They are all earning money. But what about citizens? Citizen is paying bribes. Citizen is paying very high prices for the goods. So he doesn't have any savings. So there is a huge inequalities. That is also threat to the democracy. If there is such huge inequalities, we have already seen that reservation protests, why they are happening? Because of inequalities, Arab Spring, etc. You can include more and more examples from the recent current affairs. So what is the way forward? So in democracy, civil servants shall always show allegiance to the ideals, and civil servants, they are answerable to the political executive, no doubt. But to political executive, they are answerable for whatever be the orders that are legal, which are in allegiance to the ideals and values mentioned in the constitution. To that extent, he should obey the orders of his superior. If his superior, that is political executive, he is ordering some illegal or unethical order, if it is some illegal or unethical order, he should not implement it because it is in violation of the values mentioned in the constitution. As ruled by the Supreme Court, an honest civil servant can bank on the court if any injustice is done by an unfair executive. Supreme Court has come to the protection of civil servants. Why you are aligning with your political bosses? Why you are in so much fear? If any injustice will happen to you, you please come to us. We will protect you. In multiple times, Supreme Court has promised this to the bureaucracy. That is why we are saying that politicization of bureaucracy is dangerous. Bureaucrats should act impartially. He should act with neutral. He should be neutral. He should act with neutrality. If any injustice will happen, he should have such independence. He should have such guts to say what if any order is illegal or unethical. He should say that sorry sir, I cannot implement this order because it is in violation to the constitution or violation to my conduct rules. I cannot implement. You should have such guts. You should have such independence in your functioning. You please do it, and if any injustice will happen to you, you please approach us. That is what the Supreme Court has ruled. Supreme Court has ruled such statements in its previous hearings. So I hope you understood the consequences of politicization of bureaucracy and way forward, how to address this issue. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask me on my mail, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all.